How to paint a green cone with grass texture.
All right, so I repainted another box so that I would have just this page of just textures on different shapes. So this one is just going to be for this cone in the shape of grass or texture, or the shape is cone and the texture is grass. So let's see how this goes. Same approach. I'm going to start off in this case with the local color. So this local color is going to be this very saturated green. And I'm going to keep the same idea with the light coming in this direction. So the cast shadow of this would be somewhere over here. Cast shadow of this would be somewhere over here. So that means that there's going to be a highlight somewhat happening there. Even though I created some of that texture, it was more of an idea of how I might want to make the strokes, how long the strokes might be, more so than trying to preserve it. So just one side of that cone, the highlight will happen there, and then I'm going to keep with this cone, kind of wrapping it around the form, and this is all going to be sort of the base. And then I might have a little bit of this green coming back on the other side, just like a little bit of a rim light. And this is basically like the core of that cone. All right, so now I'm gonna switch to this. This is going to be the shadow side. So I mix that with red, and it's going to be the darker area of this cone. Now, I don't need it to be all that smooth, because the idea is to create this texture. So that texture is going to bracket in that direction, this direction. In some areas, even in the light, you might get some dark spots because the objects create cast shadows, or like little blades of grass might create cast shadows on themselves, on each other. So we're trying to create that illusion. So this is sort of like mixing directly on the surface helps do that. And we're inventing this thing, so the idea is to make it appear that way. It's never going to be that. Okay, I'll bring some of that. And now for the light mass, if you saw my mixing, I have several different versions. I'm gonna go with this for the light. So instead of mixing just white into the green, it's a good idea to mix yellow into it. Otherwise it becomes kind of minty, or kind of flattens out the color, to be honest. So mixing it with a little bit of yellow helps it stay green and saturated, as opposed to getting too pastel-like. So the green, we want to maintain its intensity. Same thing happens with orange, red. You add a little bit of yellow to the lights, and it will appear more like a saturated version of that. So the chroma, you want to maintain it, and the way to do it is to add yellow to that. So we have this sort of texture-y marks that we're already making. We're just laying it in to that it feels like moss right now. And I think that's looking good. Maybe some of this will go back and forth. And this lighter one is going to be the one that I use for like the brighter or blades of grass that point towards the light a little bit more. Then I'm going to switch brushes and get something that's going to give me that erratic texture. So since I already have the darks, I'm going to go into this, see if I can So as I'm doing this, I'm still trying to keep the same idea that this is the shadow core of this cone. And just go in different directions so it doesn't really look too organized. Too organized doesn't look believable for something like this. And you slowly migrate towards the lighter side. Oops. Too much paint. Maybe there's a couple little stray ones that got.
So to wrap up this cone, all we really need to work on is cross-hatching all of the texture into it, and not being very particular about which direction, but keeping the blades of the grass kind of consistent. If the blades of the grass are a little bit too regular, it won't read like grass, and also going back and forth with lighter values on top of the darker values, just to create some series of overlaps. The denser you make it, the more believable it's going to look. If it's sparse, it's going to ask for, or it's going to require that you create some sort of bald spots in the grass, and that might require a little bit more work, but it's doable if you want that look. Other than that, it's just a matter of stopping when it feels right. Then that's about it. You have a cone with grass texture on it.